The Pera Palace Hotel has welcomed numerous literary figures in its history, including Agatha Christie. Now it's hosting a literary festival dedicated to crime and detective novels.
The Pera Palace Hotel has stood in the heart of Istanbul for more than a century. Historic events have taken place in the building, which overlooks the Golden Horn and Old City. It's still open, and today it overlooks both the past and present at once. So who stayed there? Well, who didn't? Agatha Christie, Ernest Hemingway, Greta Garbo, Mata Hari, Alfred Hitchcock, and Mustafa Kemal Ataturk. The list goes on.
The hotel was the witness to Independence War, to World Wars, and many happenings. So also it is called Museum Hotel because we are having the museum room of Ataturk, who is the founder of the modern Turkey. Also we have the Agatha Christie room. As you know, she is a very famous British writer. And maybe among all these very iconic guests of our hotel, she was the one who brought the fame to our hotel.
The Pera Palace is now hosting a festival called Black Week. This is the second year of the festival, which is devoted to crime and detective novels. The first one was organised as a tribute to Agatha Christie. It was her 125th birthday last year, and the British writer mentioned the hotel in her book Murder on the Orient Express. This year's festival commemorates Belgian author George Simenon.
George Simenon stayed at the Pera Palace in 1933, and he wrote two novels, and which were taking place in Istanbul. So therefore, while going back to our history, we said, and he's one of the most famous crime writers as well, so I said, why not to George Simenon?
Local and international novelists are at the festival, including Ahmed Umit, Philip Kerr, Sam Wilson, Tibor Fischer, Mary Jungstedt and David Walton.
Well, I think other genres have their fans too, but I think the thing about crime, or certain crime novels, is that I think we all have the desire to sort of behave badly sometimes, but we don't necessarily have the guts to do it because we want to avoid the prison sentence.
That's an honest way to put it, but it's also about the characters.
Crime is heightened in every way. The heroes are, geniuses often. They are able to put things together incredibly easily, or with incredible brilliance. The villains are the worst. The world itself is often heightened and gritty, and everything is extreme.
Crime novels also offer what real life doesn't: resolutions. But what motivates novelists to write them? That's another story.
There's not so much inspiration, it's just that A, I can't think of anything else to do anyway. B, I'm temperamentally unemployable. And C, I don't feel that I belong in the world unless I've got a pencil in my hand and a notebook.
One of Turkey's best-known practitioners of the genre has no doubts about why it's so popular.
People are bored, and because of that, literature becomes a way to escape. And it's even better if this escape route is a thrilling and adventurous one. The book you read takes you on a journey, and if this journey makes your path cross with a murder scene, then you're entering into a mystery. You're living all through that without catching your breath. And all this is risk-free for the reader.
Panel discussions at Black Week Festival are bringing together novelists with passionate readers of the genre until Saturday. In the meantime, the writers themselves are hoping the historic venue provides them with some inspiration for a new book.
The author of quantum physics crime novels Superposition and Supersymmetry, David Walton, is in Istanbul to speak at Black Week Istanbul, and he joins us now on Showcase. Thank you for joining us.
Fantastic to be here.
Well, tell us what you think of Black Week Istanbul and how has your experience been in Istanbul so far?
Well, it's been quite marvelous so far. I haven't had a chance to see very much of the city yet, but what I have done is I've been able to meet many of the wonderful people here. So Black Week is an opportunity for crime writers from Turkey and from all over the world, really, to come together. So I've met all sorts of wonderful people that I have not met before with very interesting voices and things to say.
So what are your impressions of the Pera Palace Hotel? It's a historical hotel and it's kind of the centerpiece for this festival.
It is, and it's a marvelous place to stay. It is a beautiful hotel, of course, but it is also a hotel with a lot of history to it, which is a pretty neat thing to appreciate as an author, especially. You know, to be in the same places, riding the same historical elevator as Agatha Christie or Ernest Hemingway. It's you know, it's an inspiring treat.
Well, how do quantum physics and crime come together?
Well, it's not an ordinary combination, as you might expect.
No.
But the thing about quantum physics is that it is an area of science that we are still discovering. It's something that is not entirely understood, and it's something that raises a lot of questions about our own existence. You know, scientists used to think that you could predict everything. If you only knew enough about the world, you could predict everything that was going to happen. And it turns out that that's not the case, that there are things that you just can't know. And of course, crime fiction is about solving mysteries, is about trying to find things out that you don't know. And it's also about trying to understand why people do the things that they do. Is it something that they can help? Is it something that was fated, that this person would be a villain and this person would be a hero? Or is it something that you can choose for yourself? And both quantum physics and crime fiction wrestle with some of those issues.
Well, and both surprise us, actually, you know, with things we don't expect, maybe.
Yes.
So you are actually an engineer and you spend your daytime with science. How does that affect your writing, or does it?
Well, it certainly does. It's funny because a lot of people think that engineers can't write. That's kind of a stereotype. So I'm, you know, perhaps the out of the ordinary engineer in that I also like to write. But science and technology is very much a part of my writing. And what is interesting about technology to me is how it affects people and how people's lives change when technology comes into the picture. Enables them to communicate in ways that they couldn't before, enables them to travel places that they couldn't before, and how that affects their view of themselves and their experience of the world.
Well, you're speaking in Istanbul on Saturday. What else are you up to these days? Are you writing anything else? Is there anything we need to know?
I am always writing.
You're always writing?
And Superposition, the novel that is now translated into Turkish as of a few weeks or months ago, or Superpose is how it is in Turkish, is part of a group of novels, and the next one is hopefully going to be coming out next year in Turkey. Also, I have a new novel that is not yet out in any country that is called The Genius Plague. And it's about a pandemic, a plague, that it might kill you, but if it doesn't kill you, it'll make you smarter. And so the questions there with that are, is this a good thing? Is this something that we should want or embrace? And it separates people. Is this something that is the future of humanity, or is this something that is something terrible that is destroying humanity?
Sounds intriguing. David Walton, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.